All right. This is not the video that I wanted to make. This video was supposed to be something else, but I basically missed the deadline. The deadline for me putting these videos out, at least for now, just one a week, is Friday midnight. And I was really pushing to get this one out, but I mean, right now it's 12:18, so you know, deadline is passed, and I was just doing the math, and there's just so much more for me to do in terms of putting up the slides. I mean, putting the slides together, actually recording the voiceover, and all of that. And the thing is, you do the slides, then as you're recording, you realize, oh, actually, I want to tweak this, I want to move this around, and all that. And so, yeah, basically, it became clear that there's no, first of all, I missed the deadline, and just, I didn't see a possibility where I actually get this out before even 1 a.m. So, yeah, this sucks because I was actually really excited about making this video. So the idea for this one came from looking at the sandbox model of the OpenAI Codex CLI, and I was looking at it and I was thinking, um, I mean, there sure is a lot of code here, and this is important code, right? In terms of making sure that agents don't um, go and execute commands that they're not supposed to, especially if those commands are destructive. And so I started toying with the idea, I think around late Tuesday. It's kind of late in the process, really. But I just kept telling myself, I can do it. I just need to really sit down and focus and read the code and start, um, thinking about the specification and writing stuff down. And so I think that didn't help starting late, I guess that late during the week. But it was definitely fun. In fact, and I want to be cautious about how I talk about this, but I think I'm about 75% sure that I found a bug in the implementation because um, there is a certain flag that does a thing or has an application that actually can be problematic, but uh, I don't. I have a write up that I'm thinking at some point, maybe if I feel confident enough in the model and I double check things with the actual implementation, that I will submit it as a. In fact, I'm not even sure if I should submit it as just some public um, issue on the repo, or I'm supposed to do some sort of direct email with somebody and let them know. Uh, of course, again, what's important here is that before I do that, is that I triple check that I know what I'm talking about. But based on my, I did double check, So based on the model and based on the implementation detail, and I think based on what I think most reasonable minds would agree on, I think there is a non-trivial bug in the sandboxing model of the OpenAI CLI CLI application. But don't quote me on it. uh, yeah. Anyway, so I worked on the TLA plus specification, uh, and but for the video, for the actual presentation, the slides that I was putting together, I actually decided to go with the Fizzbee version, and so I asked Claude to do a translation from TLA Plus to Fizzbee, and he did it, and I think, uh, well, I'm happy with it. Um, yeah, and so I was able to get that done. It's just that I was not able to do it in time, and yes, the fact that yesterday was Thanksgiving is definitely a good excuse because I was completely out, as one would imagine. I was completely out. So that was basically several hours of work that normally I would have invested into getting something out by midnight on Friday. So, yes, if I did work yesterday, uh, I think I would definitely have had this video ready to go. But I think I should have baked that into my planning starting from, you know, last Sunday or last Friday. I mean, even last Friday, last Sunday or last Monday, uh, this week. But it's one of those things. Sometimes you really don't necessarily know what you really want to make a video about or what the topic is going to be. And so you have several ideas circling until you pick one. Obviously, it's important that you pick one early on during the week. Yeah, so this was fun. It's unfortunate that I'm not, at least this week. I don't know if I'll try again with this one exactly for next week, but I think that kind of defeats the purpose of uh, holding yourself accountable for meeting your own deadlines. I mean, the painful experience here is that I did all this work and I won't be able to properly show it or present it, and that's annoying. But that's the lesson here. Um, but I guess for this video, what I particularly wanted, besides my rant, is this a rant or more like a, I don't know. I guess you can call it a rant. Um, but for this, what I really wanted to show is that the model exists, and this is the Fizzbee translation, which I was able to run to make sure that it actually is yields a correct execution. Um, I guess I can maybe quickly talk about some invariants just to give an idea of the things we want to check. So the safety properties and the liveness one. So the safety one, let me see, safety one, no execution without approval, right? You don't want the AI to execute a command if there was no approval. Now, there are some caveats that are based on some configuration values, but the assertion dictates that you need some approval, some form of approval before the command actually gets to execute. For the second safety property, we say that you cannot reach a no sandbox. No sandbox basically means that you are the command is gonna execute without any sandbox around it. So the way the sandbox model is set up, so you have the initial command being dispatched. Some decision needs to be made whether or not the user gets prompted to accept or deny this command. And that first attempt, because there's another one that we'll get to, but that first one, the assumption is that it's going to run within a sandbox. So let's say the user accepts on the first attempt. If the execution fails, now you need to escalate. And the escalation here means that the agent is going to, may or may not, because there are also some things that need to be checked for that escalation prompt to come about. But basically, the agent may or may not prompt the user and give the user the option of running the same command, but outside of a sandbox. And so the user can decide if they feel like this, whatever command it is safe to be executed without a sandbox. And so for this safety property, we say you cannot reach that state where you are going to execute the command in a no sandbox context without having gone through a sandbox denial, or you have a bypass flag. For safety number 3, we say that the escalation state requires sandbox failure, which, 2 and 3 are related. I'm not gonna, there's not much details to add here. It's pretty straightforward. Well, based on explanation for the safety number 2 property that we just talked about. Policy guards are respected, things like checking if the agent should even attempt to escalate when the initial request failed within a sandbox context. So what really made this interesting is that there are so many predicates at each step of the process, and I think I have a diagram. Let me see. Sorry if this is moving too fast, by the way. Okay, so that's the initial state. I had a diagram. Yes, but it's not really this one that I want to show. I think, this one. So you start with evaluate, which is the very initial state where the user, where the agent is about to request to execute a tool or a command using a tool. And if you have a policy that says, you know, it's forbidden, then you're done. There's nothing to do. Otherwise, if there is a skip, if it's a, you know, if the setting is on skip, then you skip all the way to actually attempting the request within a sandbox. Otherwise, you are in a needs approval context. And so that's when, so also you have to keep in mind that whenever a user gives approval, there's also a caching involved so that the agent is not constantly asking again for approval for the same thing or the same tool. So there's some caching involved, which can lead to problems, as you know, with caching. And yeah. Anyway, so the state gets pretty interesting in terms of, you know, all the variables and things you need to account for. And while I won't say that this is, you know, a perfectly well well put together spec and that it is complete and all of that, I think it does a decent job of exploring the state space of this whole process, right? The sandboxing and just permissioning model of the agent, the AI agent. And I mean, it runs, right? I can prove that it runs, and it runs successfully. And that's also without deadlock, deadlock, without disabling deadlock. Gosh, why is this escaping me? I guess it's almost one. Deadlock detection without disabling deadlock detection. The model checker completes successfully. I checked the TLA Plus version as well. It works. And I submitted both as a gist that you can look at if interested and run it on your own locally. For the TLA Plus one, I think TLA Plus also has a playground, online playground. If it does, gosh, I don't recall. I feel like I should know this. I mean, I have it locally running, so I don't need it. But for Fizzbee, I do use the online playground. So you could just copy what I have and, you know, just try it for yourself. Try to read through it and try to understand what's going on. And you can also read the actual OpenAI Codex CLI code base, which is on GitHub. Very accessible. And basically compare, and definitely happy to receive comments, reviews, or whatever of these specifications, both the TLA Plus and the Fizzbee one. I think, yeah. And on GIST, you can leave comments and all that. So if you're seeing this and this is intriguing to you at all, if you're one of those people who is interested in formal specifications, please do read through this and read through the ROS code base and see if you can find some issues in both the implementation detail but also the spec that I've put together here. Definitely welcome. I'm welcoming that. What else? What else did I want to share? Just yeah. So this video really is about sharing the I guess the failure to deliver on time. But I did have something that I was working on that I really wanted to get out, but I guess it's not happening. And somebody's knocking. I guess this is where I end the video very abruptly. Yeah, somebody's knocking on my office door, so I have to go and say that. All right. Thank you, and please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.